How's it going, everyone? Session here. Welcome to a particular interesting conversational topic of today. And so, just to kind of like cover a little bit of ground, there has been a teasered website floating around for a new Dissidia Final Fantasy, which is very fascinating. Now, I think on top of all of that, it's been a while since we've gotten like a new Dissidia title. Like Opera Omnia lasted for about like what 7 or so years, and then got shut down in 2024. And then prior to that, we also got Dissidia NT, which did great in Japan arcades, but like when it was brought to consoles, it was kind of like Now, realistically, Dissidia is a fighting game, like a versus PvP style type of game that kind of got thrown out the window a little bit with Opera Omnia, which I don't know how they decided to like make that a thing or something of that nature, but like is what it is. But this has been a very fascinating like variety of like teasers that have been released over the course of the past 2 days, and we finally got the teaser trailer revealed to us. So, out of sheer curiosity, we can look more into it. I am also going to say a quick warning because I'm going to turn the lights on real quick on my screen, so just so you are prepared. Cool. Now, lovely friend of ours, Axel Pink Cat, she's really cool. She and I sat down and started to predict these various silhouettes showcased throughout the entirety of the website trailer. So we have 10 silhouettes, and they do range quite a lot between the characters that we've been kind of teasing and seeing. A lot of the variety has kind of showcased itself, and it's sort of made like a lot of sense, which is interesting. Now, if you had a chance to check that website, there were like various photos. These are the photos that you have seen across the board, and we tried to figure out like what it was about. Now, I think realistically, we came to some really quick and easy understandings. Like, this necklace here is the two rings necklace that belongs to Renoa. Therefore, this must be Renoa, who we do think is this silhouette because she's got the finger thing, which makes total sense. Cloud Bike is not necessarily Fenrir, but it's close looking enough to it sort of situation, and it makes sense that Cloud is the silhouette. Then we have this one, which like I was kind of gathering like a lot of variety thoughts about it because I tried to look at characters who particularly had white boots that were buckled the way that they were. And the immediate answer for me was Sid Reigns from FF13. However, this image is a very strong representation of who we think Lightning could be, and not to mention her silhouette is definitely that one. Then we start entering like these really unique ones, such as this image here, which has it looks like a leg with like some fishnet stockings kind of sort of thing. There's a bag that says Artemis on it, and that's also like a very big jab to like it could be in Gaia from FF14, and then it makes sense because Artemis is the name of the Sessiion that was infatuated with her during the Eden storyline, Love 14, and then we realized that she has to be one of these images. Now, it wasn't it wasn't hard to think about it, but then we did describe that this one here was the Gaia um, silhouette. But then we get really interesting ones, like we get this one with the cat girl, and like, let me tell you, we sat down for hours. We were up late trying to figure it out and determine who this could possibly be. And my immediate thought process was that to this image, it's like a blue-tailed magpie, and that actually speaks to me as being Kryl from FF5, which was tough though because I was trying to think like when does Kryl ever wear like cat ears sort of thing. So like we thought it was Charlotta for a little bit from like Crystal Chronicles. We thought that it was like one of the, I forgot the character's name, but she's from like one of the like side games where she's got like a big bow, but that wasn't that character. But anyways, we kind of digress a little bit. Then we get another situation where we thought about like this character because immediately we were like, yo, it's Clive, but like it's not Clive because none of the photos have a reference to Clive. But then I thought that these white boots may have actually indicated the idea of it being like light or white. So then I thought like, oh, maybe it's Warrior of Light, and then we put that there. And then this dog image never ever made sense to me, but I could not figure it out. But I kind of skipped the rest of that. But this photo here of the camera speaks to me about Prompto, which I thought made sense. And also, this pose very easily indicates Prompto. So there's that. So we have like Prompto. This image really like speaks to me about the Zidane, which makes sense. Then there's Cloud, Kryl, Gaia, Renoa, Lightning, Terra, pretty obvious choice, and Warrior of Light. And then for the last image, or for the first one rather, we had no clue because we thought it was Irving for a minute, but the thing is that his hat doesn't have like a feather in it, and but then we couldn't figure it out. So then we decided to kind of look into detail. That little line right there speaks to me like it's like a weapon. I said spear, but then there's this image of a dragoon standing on top of like a little light tower, or like the tower that you'll see in the imagery, and then we determined that it was Cain. So, anyways, these are the theory crafting we put into perspective for this teaser. But the trailer's finally here, so let's check it out. My gosh. When darkness fills the world, the warrior's light shall come. Ooh. NHL play art. A peaceful everyday life brings chaos. Okay, those who are protected from the chaos are called ghosts. Okay. Yo, it's Warrior Light! Oh, wait, the Dissidia Duelleum? Ooh, 3 versus 3 team boss battle. Team versus monsters. Pure bravery. Oh! Faster than your rivals. And new cities are unfolds in modern Tokyo with full Japanese voice acting, ever expanding with more characters and story. Wait, what? Village illustrations drawn by popular artists. Oh. And there's summons? Dissidia Duelleum. Duelleum? Oh, there's more silhouettes! That's Clive. Who are the next ghosts? 2026 iOS and Android? Alright, hold on. So we officially have the title teaser announcement. Dissidia Duelleum Final Fantasy. So DDFF. Interesting. Okay, I want to go through the trailer a bit and kind of talk about what we saw throughout the course of it. First and foremost, the fact that there's a behemoth running across modern Tokyo is kind of hard. I think that's kind of wild, but I think that's also really cool. But it's a peaceful life visited by chaos. So usually, like the storyline kind of portrays like a cosmos versus chaos situation. But like we kind of sort of don't have that. It looks like at least not right away. It's only a teaser announcement, so we'll see. Now let me say that like calling them ghosts is a very interesting storytelling like plot point to kind of keep in mind of, which I think is fascinating. Warrior of Light's outfit is sick. That being said, all of their outfits are sick. Yo, we got Gaia confirmed. We got Cain, Warrior of Light, and then there's Prompto. This imagery is so sick, dude. Okay, wait. So now let's kind of cover the idea behind some of the things that they talked about. So it's a 3 versus 3 game, but Team Boss Battle Arena. So I had a theory because the teaser website only said the words Team Boss Battle Arena. So my immediate thought process was like, wow, are they going to go like a League of Legends like battle arena style kind of combat game? Because that'll be kind of interesting. I feel like but like more so where I don't play League of Legends, so I can't immediately like compare the two. But for me, I feel like you have like your characters, and then there's like a 3-lane situation, right? And then you gotta like fight creatures across the map, whatever, and the goal is I think to destroy the enemy base, and then that's how you win, sort of thing. So I was thinking that with Team Boss Battle Arena it was designed like that. However, that's not the case scenario entirely, because or I guess it kind of sort of is, but the thing is that like it's your team versus the enemy team, but there's also monsters involved. And also you can already see here in the imagery as well, they already have like rarity for skills. There's SR, then there's UR, and then there's R. So we understand what the gotcha thing is leaning towards. I guess you pay or acquire abilities, and you use those abilities against the opponents, which is like, it's kind of interesting actually. So I don't entirely know. But you can kind of tell that there's like a map, and it's kind of got like a little arc thing. It's like an A B C D E thing. There's like a goal best icon, which is interesting. Also, by the way, like no villains. That's interesting. But also on top of that, like it's people fighting against monsters. So I'm kind of a little puzzled by it. And this is a mobile game, by the way. It also looks like it's a mobile game that you play like facing up like portrait style instead of like landscape, which is also fascinating. So I'm not entirely sure about that yet. Um, you purify crystals, accumulate bravery, and then you unleash your full power at max bravery. There's like a bravery burst thing, and yeah, you fight giant bosses. So so here's where I'm kind of confused behind the situation. So here's the thing, right? Dissidia Opera Omnia, unfortunately got shut down. That game was fire, but there's a problem with DFOO that like it. Well, the game got shut down. That's the first problem. But the real thing is that like it was not like a. It wasn't like a versus game. You didn't. It was actually like a cooperative, like turn style kind of game, and you can kind of like set up combos versus the creatures, right? Which made a lot of sense. Really, really cool concept. And like, yo, you can do like billions of damage, and it was sick, actually, right? So this is kind of taking a weird combination of both of those games and creating like a new type of Dissidia game. And I have like a small problem with the idea that the word Dissidia is being used the way that it's being used for these most recent titles. Because the last okay, so in my personal mind, the last recently properly used version of Dissidia um was technically NT, but not really, right? Because like the actual one was like Duodecim, so and the original. So the thing is like I actually like the idea of a Final Fantasy versus mode fighting game. I think that's sick. But the thing is like the 3v3 thing, there's a lot of like man, there's a whole lot of I can talk about this for like an hour, so I'm gonna try like not to do that. But in Dissidia and Duodecim, the thing that was really cool about those games is that it wasn't like a traditional fighting game that was it was 1v1. That was the first thing, right? But the gameplay was also relatively fast and like chase heavy. And the concept behind it was incredible. You know, bravery attacks get your points up. You do an HP attack, you expend those points to do damage to the HP, and you win that way. That's a very unique way to go about the process, which I thought was incredible. So I can't believe that they've not like come up with that same concept in like a modern day setting because like they easily could. So I don't know what's happening with this game series as a whole. Additionally, Dual Distance came out and it does the exact same copy and paste situation from the first game, which was incredible, top tier content. It's one of the greatest like Final Fantasy like side games of all time, right? Which is sick. NT comes out, and here's where people might like converse about Dissidia NT because the arcade game did incredible, which was fine. It translated over to the American version. The American version only provided like this competitive 3v3 mode thing and was supposed to be like an esports kind of title, which was a very like bold choice to make, but it came at a cost. And the cost was very, very heavy in comparison to the appeal of the game because um, Dissidia NT could have actually been a good game in terms of like functionality and gameplay wise if the matches actually had like an extension of play, but also like the game was just so slow. Um, and also the need for like a 3v3 thing didn't really like it wasn't like really it wasn't really like fleshed out heavily. Like they just kind of took Dissidia and just like tripled the player base in terms of the opposition of teams, and then they kind of just like rolled with it. And Dissidia wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't good because of how the gameplay functioned in comparison to its predecessors. Like if you go back and play Dissidia 1 and Duodecim, those games are like super super fast paced games. Especially Duodecim. Like the speed you move in Duodecim is like insanely quick. But the bigger takeaway point is that there was an arcade mode. The versus mode was like a thing, but it had like this like labyrinth like dungeon crawler kind of mode, which was like the reason why you played those games because obviously all the best items you had, there were those caveats where it's like, hey, this target has like a lot of HP but can't defend, so like go crazy. Or it's like, hey, this guy, you know, perfect parries everything and like dodges everything perfectly and like you had to get lucky or whatever, you know, whatever it is. Very like Soul Calibur esque when it comes to like the gimmicks. So Dissidia NT threw all that out the water and then just became like a 3v3 like arcade like fighter, which like made no sense because like it wasn't like a Marvel style. And the game was like incredibly slow and just had no functionality, which is crazy actually, right? So, and then also the story mode like didn't really make any sense either. It was a whole weird game. That game did not do well. But then Dissidia Duelleum comes out, and first of all, DFOO's story mode was godlike. Godlike storytelling from start to finish, and it was so sad that it had to end the way that it ended because that story was so good. But on top of that, though, it had like a really great like cooperative system, and the weaponry for the for the abilities and like the leveling and the whole like grind for DFOO was like really like top level, like super peak. So I love that a lot. So it was like a huge bummer that the game didn't do well or like last long enough to like make it to 10 years because like the appeal just kind of like diminished like, a little bit, I guess. Which like whatever. But now we have this game, and this game is going to raise a lot of questions and a lot of eyebrows, and I understand that entirely. And here's my biggest thing: the fact, okay, the art design is godlike. I love the fact that you can wear like various outfits, and there is like a whole like messaging system, which is cool actually. Like I really like that there is like a really cool sense of like life just by the trailer alone. It really does tell like a lot, which I really like that a ton. I love that there's so much like, illustrations that are showcased across the game. I love that everyone can kind of like customize their outfits. Like, like Kane's outfit looks really cool. Tara's outfit can go from like the casual to like the standard, which like again, super fire. So the customization of the outfit thing I think is really cool. I think that they should just incorporate that. But the fact that it's a mobile game is like a huge problem. And not to mention that there's like summons, which is also really cool that you obviously use to like clear a bunch of the monsters. Um, and of course you can like activate like bravery burst modes, and like it's sick. Like yo, it's sick. But at the same time, this game is doing two things very poorly that it could do one or the other extremely well. So the 3v3 thing could actually work. It actually can work. However, they have to. Well, firstly, the biggest problem is that it's a mobile free to play game. So there's gotcha. The gotcha system is going to be super ass, which is like whatever. But the 3v3 thing could actually work very well. It just has to be a faster paced game, and they have to be able to incorporate ways for there to make sense behind why there's a 3v3 thing. Like, okay, like you can actually just do like 3 1v1 in the same arena, but everyone fights over the crystals to summon like the summon, and then like that's what it is, and that's literally it. Which was like, it was okay in NT. But the thing is, like, matches in NT ended in like 3 minutes. Like, it was insane. So I don't know how they thought that NT was like a design, or the arcade game. Even the arcade game was like something interesting. But the thing is, like, people like tried to play Dissidia competitively, and it was good. It was relatively like competitive for the tiny population of players that played NT. But the thing is, like, if that game actually had matches that lasted like 10-15 minutes and like made sense, then like, yeah, sure. Because some fighting games don't go, I mean, some of them do, but like some fighting games don't just last like 3 minutes and like you're done. Like sometimes a full match can take like, the combination of like 5 to 10 minutes, depending on like the way how the timer spent, the combos and all that stuff, right? So like, I thought that was interesting. But the 3v3 thing in this game is a little weird. But I think the bigger issue, and the one that's much more concerning, is the versus monsters thing. I don't understand how the versus monsters thing is going to function. It's almost like PvPvE in a sense. Which again, like it could work, but the thing is, like, Dissidia Opera Omnia is very much like such a incredible PvE mobile experience. It was really sad for it to die down, but I think that if they were to apply a Dissidia like Opera Omnia style gameplay thing like this, I think that would have been sick. I think also with like Clair Obscure, I think a lot of folks would have also loved for it to be turn based. Um, but I can't believe that this is like one of those mobile games that like is it's just super weird. That's all I can tell you. It being like a two versus two team situation, like two teams are battling against each other and fighting monsters. You win by doing the most damage, which already also I feel like that's got to be weird because the thing is like the more money you spend, the better chance you have of getting like the UR abilities, and then you can do more damage versus the bosses. So like, and also like, how does that even work in a game like this? Like, I don't actually understand that either personally. It's not making sense to me, at least not right now. So like, I don't know how to feel about it yet. So like AO. Um, Additionally, that says 40.7 seconds of a recharge for the UR like ability. So you're telling me that buttons last 40 seconds? That's like longer than some buttons in like FF14. So like I'm well, first of all, I just need to know what the gameplay looks like. That's like the primary functionality of the thing, like no questions asked. But at the same time, I man, I really wish they should just take out the name Dissidia. If they call it Duellum Final Fantasy, that's fine. At least it's just not using Dissidia because a lot of players who played Dissidia are gonna want the original like duo of games that came on the PSP because those games are like the peak definition of a Dissidia. NT is like a great like mobile experience. It was great. It lasted a good time, so it was fine. But like that being said, um this being like a mobile title only available on like iOS and Android raises like a huge like concern to me personally. Um, man, I feel like if they try to create like a live service game that you can play on phone and Steam and console, um, and then you can just like co-op thing with FF characters, dude, that would yo, that I think that would be sick. I would play. See, the problem that I have with this game is that like I'm not gonna enjoy it because it's a PvP game, but I think I would love it if it was a PvE game. So I don't actually have a clue. I'm not immediately. I mean, again, I have no idea. We got to go in and try it out when it comes out. That's my honest answer. Um, because it just seems like to me that like a lot of the resourcing that's being put into this game, the outfits are so peak, dude. The resourcing being put into this game really tells me like they want to make this work. I think it's a very ambitious way to try to appeal to players that play Final Fantasy in like a universe. The cast is like whatever. Collaboration Final Fantasy games. You know what I mean? Like it's fine. I'm sure we'll get a whole bunch more. This like title art is so clean, dude. It's actually so clean. But then we got new characters, and let me see. That sword immediately tells me Onion Knight, and he's got a cap, which is kind of hilarious actually. Who? That's Balthier. That has to be. That's his pose, 100%. I saw this pose. This looks like a Roja, which makes total sense because she's the only character I think in the entire game that has like the Naginata like spear like this one I think it's called, right? So like that has to be a Roja. Um, oh, that looks like Riku. That hairstyle like screams Riku to me. That's Clive without question. That stance is 1000% Clive. Um, ooh, that's interesting. This tells me it's Bart's. I kind of can't tell by the sword. It kind of looks like the Brave Blade, but like I can't immediately tell. Oh, here's the okay. Yeah, so definitely Onion Knight. That's Riku, Balthier, Clive, Iroha. Oh yeah, see that like the way how it arcs like that? I think that's the Brave Blade. So I think that's Bart's, which will be very fascinating. And the cool thing is that like you can definitely tell by the outfits that like they're all wearing like casual gear, which I think is sick actually, you know. But again, it makes me wonder like what's the whole purpose behind this? I think it's a very ambitious title. I think that they could like if they have done their homework, which like if they've done their homework, then this game could be interesting and it could be a lot of fun and it could be very appealing and it'll be sick. At the same time, however, it's a gotcha game And PvP gotcha games, I do not know how often or well PvP gotcha games do, but they don't scream success to me usually. I could be wrong though. I don't really remember a PvP gotcha game being played like heavily. Because every single mobile title has been canceled so far, I think, across the universe of Final Fantasy games, except for Ever Crisis, right? So I think Ever Crisis is the only current one active, unless no, First Order also got taken down, right? Yeah. So like this is them. This is a very like interesting take. So like we'll find out more information when it comes out. The we're gonna have to like check out the beta like test. It's Android only, it looks like, which is like such an L. But like we shall see. And dude, like character design by Nomura-san. Like, yo, he's like that's crazy actually. So NHN Play Art. I wonder if there's a way to figure out like who's designed that way. Okay, so NHN Play Art. They made a Yokai Watch game. They've made like a Dragon Quest game. There's a Valkyria Chronicles Duel. That game is long gone. Pretty sure. Let me see. Yeah, so I mean the Disney game is active, I know that much. I think a lot of these other games are very like up and about kind of sort of. So like whatever. This game is also gone. This game also like got shut down in like a couple years. So I don't know, bold attempt for them to try to create games with like Final Fantasy in mind, but like they're not really known for like survivability like along the way. So like I mean I don't know, it's gonna be like a we'll see situation. So we'll keep an eye on it. I'll definitely check out the beta if I can for like Android. I gotta get an Android somehow. We'll see how that pans out for us. So but we'll see. And like yeah, we'll see more information on it. So yo, Dissidia is back. Like we'll see what that looks like in a couple days, but hopefully you guys enjoy. I mean, I'm pretty sure people are going to be riveted by the gameplay. So let me know.